Welcome back into Kramer Talks Baseball, as we're going to go to convert now to throwing some shed, as that's what we're going to call this podcast from now on, as we're going to start off locally with the Kansas City Royals. We're going to talk about the Red Hot Rays. Team USA has been announced. The minor leagues, are they actually still using the juiced ball from 2019? And is it time for some Robo Umps in Major League Baseball? We're going to get that all in this podcast, this baseball podcast. Love baseball. We got to keep on talking about it here. But starting things off with the Kansas City Royals. And the biggest storyline or news we should say is one, Alberto Mondesi is officially back in action, as we're going to be seeing him play now. Hopefully he can stay healthy. He's actually going to be starting in the Rays series in Tampa Bay. But the other news is the lack of production we've been seeing by Jorge Soler. And I don't know if it's as it should be more concerned or more handedly, rather than moving him down the lineup to see more fastball pitches. Because granted, everybody, if you get moved down in the bottom of the order, that's because, one, you're not producing. Jorge Soler is not producing. Two, you've got a better chance of seeing fastballs. But if people have scouting reports on Jorge Soler, he's a strikeout or home run type of guy. He's been hitting the ball, has some really loud outs this season, but then again, there's still outs, and he's not producing at all. Might have 3 home runs. Ooh, big deal. He granted 25% of his RBIs came in one game against the Detroit Tigers. So he has the capability of producing, but has he produced this year in 2021? No, he has not. And at this point in time, moving him down the order is not worth it. I don't even think benching the guy is not worth it. And at some point, people are going to say, all right, we got to do something here. We got to do something with Jorge Soler. We either got to trade him, we got to DFA him, because right now, no one's going to want to trade for Jorge Soler. With this production, you're not going to, a team's not going to say, hey, we're going to offer you this and that, anything. A team may offer him off the Royals some cash, and that's maybe the only thing that's worth it right now, unless he starts producing. And if the Royals are going to try to, I would say replace or just try to, hopefully he gets for the best, because at this point, you might have to cut bait with him if he's still going to be doing this for the next 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 weeks, because if he is not producing at all, why have him in the lineup or even on the team in general? Granted, this is a guy that can hit 50 home runs. He has the capability of driving in over 100 RBIs. We've seen him do it. So why haven't we seen it this year? Is it going to be because of the 60-game sprint from last season carried back over to where maybe it was just maybe he's just not all the way ready? I just think it's just timing. He has the work ethic. Granted, there's the more scouting reports they have on these players is tremendous, and it keeps working on it. And that's why they're not Kansas City Royals, but all of Major League Baseball in general is able to have a lot of outs. We've already seen 6 no-hitters so far this season, so that could be a big case and a big reason too. Or I think honestly, you just have to bench him, bring him off the plate. Not bring him off the plate, excuse me. Bring him off the bench for a pinch hitting role, and that actually might, say, hey, you got to step up your game, because we're not seeing your production value that we want you to see. So a lack role should be in order. Maybe it's the fact that he's not just a traditional DH anymore. Maybe he's because he's playing out right field he was called up being a right fielder, but he hit all of his home runs during that season, him being mostly the DH for the Kansas City Royals. So maybe it's just the fact of maybe he's just a guy that just can bat. You can't put him out in the outfield. There's too much going on in his mindset to have the production on the field's maybe not there, but we definitely know the production at the plate is definitely not there. But he has to focus on one thing and one thing only, and at this point is driving in runs, because that we know Soler's a capability of doing that. Or the easy thing is the replacement value. You can still keep him on the team. Maybe you call up a player. If they can even send him down to AAA, which I know they can't, but even if they could just try to send him down, maybe say that, he needs to have a rehab assignment. Act like I'll put quotes on it. Act like he gets hurt. Maybe it's like a hand problem. Maybe it's a hamstring problem. Sometimes granted, players don't want to fake an injury because they always want to go out there and perform and play, but maybe there is something wrong with him. Maybe there is a nagging issue in his back. Maybe, possibly hamstrings. We don't know. I'm just saying speculation wise. But if something does happen, maybe you send him back down on his rehab assignment to gain his, I guess, not his trust, but the ability of him producing wise by seeing pitching down in, let's say, low A to high A to double A to triple A, have him just bring himself back up on a rehab assignment if he does get hurt, and that actually might be beneficial. Because honestly, I'm not saying that, I don't know how I'm going to say this, but when Hunter Dozier got hurt, he had placed on the 7-day IL because of concussions, and they brought him down. They sent him down to a rehab assignment and AAA, and he's actually tearing the cover off the ball. So maybe that's the thing that you need to not get hurt, but step away from the game a little bit just to relax and not be as tense, and then your productions might grow up. But for easy replacement, personally, I'm a huge fan of this guy. But sign Yasiel Puig. Yasiel Puig's in the Mexican League right now. If you need a decent bat, a decent glove, he's definitely a better outfielder than Jorge Soler. He's got a good contact to the ball, and you at least know he's a ball player. We know that. We've all seen Yasiel Puig play. He's a 20 home run, maybe 60 RBI guy for a full season. He's going to be out there. He's a character for you, and honestly, put him out in right field. It might be a good fit for the Royals because it seems like right now they are very thin in the outfield position, especially if the outfield with they want to actually produce some runs wise. So Yasiel Puig might be an easy fit there. But if you're looking for like a DH caliber guy, say if you just want to put Hunter Dozier back out in right field, having Kelvin Gutierrez maybe your everyday third baseman now, or even have Carlos Santana be always the first baseman, or even this. Salvi is going to be a DH at some point, but maybe it's not a guy like Edwin Encarnacion who's going to bring you a value of production-wise that we know he can hit. He's hit plenty of home runs at Kauffman Stadium. So if you're the Royals, why don't you try to sign a grizzled vet that has capability now to, he's been out in the free agent market, so his market has been slowly declining every single day. He probably just wants to play baseball at this point. So why not just try to offer him a 1-year deal so they can have a DH spot for Edwin Encarnacion, because Jorge Soler is a DH batting 7th. Why don't you sign Edwin Encarnacion, who could be a DH and bat 3rd or 4th or 5th? Your DH spot tends to want to be in the American League either the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th in the batting order. You don't want a 7th hitter being your DH. That right there shows you that you have the lack of trust with that said player in Jorge Soler. So Edwin Encarnacion or Yasiel Puig may be the easiest option for the Kansas City Royals if they have the money. I'm just saying, I'm acting like I'm spending Dayton Moore's money. Clearly, I'm not. And these are just easy fixes that seem simple, but won't happen. I don't know. If Yasiel Puig or Edwin Encarnacion sparks your interest, go for it. But at this point, you got to do something with Jorge Soler. I think this series with the Tampa Bay Rays maybe an eye-opening, maybe a test. I feel like if he does not produce at all for the rest of this week, the timing of this podcast is actually being recorded right before the game of the Tampa Bay Rays for the first game of the series. So by the time this comes out, it's going to be a day after, so maybe a little, who knows, Jorge Soler might hit a home run. This is the week Jorge Soler has to step up, and if he doesn't, you have to figure something out with him. You have to sit down, meeting with him, because you have to produce. And the Royals are hurting right now because of the lack of production that they were supposed to get from Jorge Soler this season. It has not came at all. It hasn't. It clearly hasn't. And so now it's just time to figure things out, fine-tune some things with him, or just cut bait, start over fresh with somebody else by signing somebody, calling somebody up. That's just the thing you have to do. It's the production is key to winning baseball games, and Jorge Soler's not getting on base. Therefore, the Royals may be losing 1 to 2 to 3 runs per game because he may not be driving in somebody, or he may not be scoring himself. So you have to do something with Jorge Soler at this point for the Kansas City Royals. Tampa Bay Rays have, I wouldn't say they started off sluggish or hot, but right now, they're red hot. They're white hot. They're an 11-game winning streak at this point, and they are just tearing it up. Even they go into the 11th inning against the Toronto Blue Jays and end up scoring 7 runs in the 11th to extend their 11-game winning streak to 11 games, or 10-game to 11 games. But they also did this by making some, I wouldn't say, you could say this is a major move, by trading 2 of your guys that's on the big club to Milwaukee for 2 of the guys on the Milwaukee's big club. Because if the fact that you traded your everyday shortstop, Willy Adames, during a winning streak, that right there shows you something. Because, I mean, we all know that the number 1 prospect in Major League Baseball is Wander Franco, a shortstop. So when they made that deal for Willy Adames to Milwaukee for a couple pitchers, as in J.P. Feyereisen and also Drew Rasmussen, they're clearly stocking up on their bullpen because they know for a fact they're going to make another run. And I wouldn't be shocked if, once again, Tampa Bay Rays are the clear-cut favorites winning the AL East, but compared to the Yankees, I mean, the Red Sox have a fighting chance within the way they've been playing right now. But if the Rays continue to win like they have been through this portion of May, they continue that through the portion of June, look out. I bet by All-Star break, the Rays will have 50 wins. And it's just a ticking time bomb for them to win, I guess to win the AL East. We're going to see that happen this season. But them trading their everyday shortstop, Willy Adames, to Milwaukee and also call it their number 7 prospect, number 7, not number 1, even though we all think that Wander Franco is ready to play everyday Major League Baseball. They're keeping him down a little bit low. Maybe they're going to wait till, I don't know, not deadline, but the September call-ups. They bring up Taylor Walls. Number 7 prospect, still not bad. Very good glove. Also has a decent bat on contact ratio. And for his first series, he played pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie. Taylor Wall was able to drive in a few runs. I think a 350 batting average as well. And he's just the guy that had to flash the leather the entire time that we saw them against the Blue Jays. So that was a good move by the Rays by trusting in a young prospect, as in that's not Wander Franco, but in Taylor Walls, to put him up there because they know that they have the talent and they know that they made a couple of good moves by getting some bullpen pieces that, 1, they may keep for the remainder of the roster, or 2, that we've seen them do this before, flip them for somebody else, either a bat or another pitcher, because we know that the Tampa Bay Rays are analytically based by either defense, pitching, and also by the way that they hit the ball, of course. I mean, there's a reason why Ji-Man Choi comes off the bench and hits a bomb, or you can even put him at first base and he actually is going to produce because they know he gets on base. The Tampa Bay Rays are with it, but it seems like they can never capitalize on their success. Even last season by going to the World Series, and then now, I mean, they took second. I mean, granted, they're the AL champions, but they want to win the World Series. They've been wanting to do this since 2008. I mean, they didn't want to do this since they've been in existence in Tampa Bay. But it seems like they're this close and close and close of getting there. And now all the pieces, I feel like, are actually playing out. They traded Blake Snell last year. Granted, they got a good haul off him. They got some guys that they needed to in order to fill out spots around, I guess, the infield and also pitching. So they know what they're doing that way. They're just looking at farm systems, knowing that, okay, we have a great farm system. Tampa Bay Rays, top-notch farm system, because they know what they're doing. I'm not saying that any other ball club knows what they're doing, but they seem like the Rays are always in advance. But they just seem like all they do is win right now. In fact, they're an 11-game winning streak. They're going into a 3-game series with Kansas City Royals that is just, we're trying to see what the Royals have gotten so far. Royals right now have been a 500 ball club. I projected that the entirety of what's the beginning of the season. So the Rays are just the team that's not pesky, but the team that they just want to win, and they win, and they do. No matter what they do, is they win. It could be anybody out there. Heck, Rich Hill, a 41-year-old pitcher, is just lights out this season. It's like, who knew? Who knew we would see Rich Hill do something like this in a Tampa Bay Ray uniform? Nobody. Nobody took a chance on him. The Rays did because they saw what was left in him. They're trying to milk every single ounce of, I guess, great games in Rich Hill as possible. And if that involves them doing that and winning, I guess, the AL East, and then at times that he may just fall off, I guess that's the risk you're willing to take, and hopefully somebody steps up on that way, because that's the Rays are just making risky moves, and they're just a team that's just that's ready to win now, and more teams need to do this in Major League Baseball. And I mean, granted, every Major League Baseball team is clearly trying to win every single game, but the Rays are doing it at a weird, awesome way that makes them elite in what they do. Yeah, no, Rays, who's going to stop them? They're clearly my clear-cut favorites of winning the American League East. Team USA, we're back in baseball form for the Tokyo Olympics. The qualifiers are coming up here on the 31st of May to the first week of June. And the USA opens the American qualifying tournament against Nicaragua on May 34th, like I just said, at Port St. Lucie, Florida. I know I mispronounced that. I know I'm going to get ripped for it, but that's okay. As they also plays the Dominican Republic the next day at West Palm Beach and closes the first round play in Group A against Puerto Rico on June 2nd. So the 31st for the 2nd, you're going to see the Team USA try to go through the qualifying. Clearly, I'm going to be watching it's baseball. I'm going to watch as much baseball as possible. That means cheering on for Team USA. Hopefully, they make it to the Tokyo Olympics if they even have the Olympics this summer, as some things have been arising, such as, we are currently still in a pandemic. We're still trying to open up, but also other things that could halt it, such as stuff that's in politics that I will not get into. But right now, the best move Team USA has done is, Scott Boras not wanting to be with Team USA, or they moving on from him. But Mike Scioscia, Mike Scioscia, former Angels, longtime Angels manager, is going to be on the Team USA as does Scott Boras. Thankfully, we at least have an actual manager there instead of an agent trying to command a team. But there's some notable players on this team. I'm granted, I bet you guys know some of these names, like Homer Bailey, Edwin Jackson, David Robinson, Marc Rzepczynski, Matt Wieters, Todd Frazier, John Jay, and Matt Kemp. Those are the most notable ones that I'm clearly, if I know them and you're listening to this baseball podcast, clearly you know them as well. But Homer Bailey, he's the owner of 2 no-hitters. Granted, these are all older guys too. I just want to let you guys know that now. Guys and gals that are listening to this or watching this, these are older people. So Homer Bailey is the owner of 2 no-hitters. He actually pitched Major League Baseball last season with the Minnesota Twins, if you didn't remember that. Edwin Jackson has pitched for 14 different teams in Major League Baseball. He has a career 4.78 ERA. David Robertson might be 36 years old, but he still has 137 saves on his ledger with a 2.90 ERA. If you are a Major League Baseball team looking for a decent to almost, I wouldn't say excellent, an above-average replacement pitcher, a relief pitcher, I should say, David Robertson might be a guy you might want to look at during this qualifiers for this Olympics. You might want to look at this guy. You seriously do. Marc Rzepczynski last pitched in 2018 for the Cleveland Indians, but he also, I want to point this out, I have to say it every single time because I got a Cardinals jersey right here. He's won a World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2011. It's not a big deal. Granted, it is a big deal, but still. Matt Wieters, a 4-time All-Star, great frame. This is a guy that can frame a pitch. Like, if you need a catcher right now, a grizzled veteran catcher that can help you frame the pitch, because right now, I'll get into it a little bit later, the umpires really don't know what the strike zone is. Get Matt Wieters. Matt Wieters might want to give him a call. He's also has a career 2.49 average, actually, not ERA. 2.49 average, but for a catcher who I think has like over 130 home runs, has some pop. He backed up Yadier Molina the past 2 seasons, so you might want to give Wieters a call. Todd Frazier, we actually saw him play 13 games this year in Pittsburgh, but he batted a terrible .086. So let's see if Todd Frazier actually gives some pop and some life into this Team USA. John Jay, a former Cardinal, played with the Angels this season. Only played 5 games, though. He did bat at .357, then was DFA'd for assignment. So now a good pickup for Team USA. Did win a World Series back in 2011 with the St. Louis Cardinals. Matt Kemp. This is a guy that should be on a Major League Baseball team right now. He should be. I think this is a player that he's treating this as a tryout and an opportunity, which he's taken the opportunities and run with it, especially being on Team USA for these Olympics. He's going to try his hardest to show out, which he should, to take throne and possibly be on a Major League Ball club. So the last organization he was part of was the Atlanta Braves. No, it wasn't the Atlanta Braves. Cincinnati Reds was the last organization he was part of, and I believe that was last year. So Matt Kemp needs to be on a team. Like, it's odd because we've seen his career come up like very hot, very streaky, get hurt, been a little bit quiet for the few seasons after that, and he got really hot and he got cold again. So this is a very streaky season-to-season player that I believe should still have a run and say to an actual Major League Baseball team. But out of those notable players right there, that Matt Kemp is a clear-cut favorite to treat this as a tryout and hopefully make a Major League Baseball roster once the Tokyo 2021 Olympics are over. So we know that's in June. So heck, he might be getting a phone call in August if that's only if the Team USA makes it that far to in the Olympics. So, granted, hopefully it does happen. But top prospects on Team USA. There's 3 top prospects. Granted, I'm not going to. There's a couple of Royals prospects, including Jonathan Boland's on there, but they're not at the top 100. But in the top 100, there are 3 on this, and that's Matthew Liberator, who's number 30 prospect in Major League Baseball. He's a Cardinals prospect. If you didn't know this, he was in the Randy Arozarena trade for the Tampa Bay Rays to go back and forth. So, clearly one of the top prospect pitchers for the Rays that they had to deal in order to get Arozarena. Which honestly, Arozarena really wasn't the big guy that they wanted in this deal, but it was able to get the movement forward. Jarren Duran, the number 93 MLB prospect from the Boston Red Sox. Simeon Woods Richardson, number 73 prospect in Major League Baseball for the Toronto Blue Jays. Jarren Duran, remember that name because I'm going to talk about him a little bit here shortly. Well, just shortly, yes. Because Team USA, that's the roster. That's the most notable guys, the ones to look out. Actually, if you want to look at anybody on this, look at the top prospects, the prospects on this team, because these are going to be guys that are the potential call-ups or at least looming at least some point for these guys within the next year or 2 years. So if you're a prospect on this team, a Team USA, just expect to, or if you're watching this, just expect these guys to come up and actually be not like a household name. Hopefully they are household names, but there are going to be guys that we're going to talk about, and you're going to see them here in the near future after the Olympics are over with. Now, let's go to the minor league baseball, because minor league baseball right now is it's not a cluster, but since we are actually seeing minor league baseball once again, because we didn't see it at all last season, I honestly, from all there's a lot of home runs. I think they're using the baseballs from back in 2019. I truly believe this, because you got a guy like Joe Adell who has 10 home runs, and he hit 6 home runs in his last away road game stand against the Las Vegas Aviators. Joe Adell's just raking. Orlando Arcia, former Milwaukee Brewer in the Atlanta Braves farm system currently, has 7 home runs. Jesus Sanchez, tearing the cover off the ball. His average is a 4.89 at the time of this recording. 7 home runs in Miami's organization. I know for a fact I should know this last name by heart because I covered the Royals. But Vinnie Pasquantino, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right. I know for a fact I pronounced it wrong. 7 home runs. Granted, also these are also guys that are in all the minor leagues. This is all the minor leagues home runs. So he's hit 7 home runs. I'm pretty sure he's in high A, I believe. Jarren Duran, Boston Red Sox, 7 home runs. Johan, Mieses, Boston Red Sox organization, 7 home runs. Vidal, Brujan, 7 home runs. They're just hitting home runs at an excelled rate. And that's another season of minor league baseball of them hitting home runs, or they're hitting strikeouts. That's the common factor that we've seen with minor league baseball the past 5 seasons. We've seen stolen bases go up, we've seen them go down, we've seen the home runs go up and go up and go up, strikeouts go up and up and up. But then you got a guy like Jesus Sanchez that's just tearing the cover off the ball, who should be called up anytime soon. A guy like Joe Adell who's just raking, hitting home runs. He's clearly ready to be called up. Orlando Arcia, if it wasn't for Dansby Swanson, or you could put Ozzie Albies at shortstop, or Pesci maybe at shortstop. He's just in the minor league system, and he's a good trade candidate, I guess. Or you can at some point call this guy up. He's not really hitting home. He's not hitting home runs. He has 3 on the season. He had a 450-foot smash. It's just the ball is just flying out of the parks right now for minor league baseball. I don't know if it's just the dimensions, which is clearly not. I don't know if it's the weather, which it could possibly be. Or is it just the baseball? They haven't switched the baseball. The baseball is still, quote unquote, juiced. Or are they still are they teaching the hitters in minor leagues to perfect your launch angle, protect the plate to hit home runs? Or granted, everybody goes up there and tries to swing as hard as they can. That's how Major League Baseball is now. You either swing as hard as you can, hopefully free contact, hopefully hit a home run, or you're going to strike out, a la Jorge Soler. Let's get into it now. Robo Umps. This could be a reason why there's, a lot of swinging, a lot of strikeouts because people don't know the strike zone. We've seen a lot of, I don't know if it's granted because of how Major League Baseball has been showing the replay system or the fact that we have more views, more eyes, more cameras on the game that we can actually see. Like, heck, we see that little box when we watch baseball now to know like which one's the strike zone. Or I can even pull up the MLB app, have the game day gameplay thing going on, and I can still see the strike zone. They put the ball on there. The blue is whether if it's in play, the green if it's a ball, the red's a strike. And I always see that outside the box where it's red, but yet it doesn't say it's just called strike and not a swinging strike. That could be a reason too. But they're trying to incorporate Robo Umps and Low A. They're testing it out. They're going to test it out, actually. And I don't know if that's good for baseball. I truly believe it's not. Or it could be. The biggest question I have is, say you have that square, and you throw a strike, or if you throw a ball that's 3/4 of it in the plate, or on the line of that box. Great, if it's inside, like where the plate is, it's going to be a strike. But if it's 3/4 of the way outside, but yet there's still part of that ball that's on that line, that's still going to be a strike too because, from watching the game, that could be a borderline strike, or is it going to be a borderline ball? If it's still touching the strike zone, I feel like it'd still be a strike, but you have to keep the ball 50%, like 50% on that line. So that could be a case of, all right, how are we going to figure this one out? Are we going to see a lack of, some junk from pitchers? Like, we're going to see a lack of curveballs. We've already seen the screw and forkball pretty much be gone. Our people are going to stop throwing knuckleballs, which we have seen a decrease of knuckleball pitchers. Knuckle curves could be gone because, unless they do throw it out there for like a chase rate, but you're not going to be wanting to throw your knuckleball or curveball or forkball or anything if you're 0-2 and if it's not in the strike zone, clearly you're not going to swing at it if you're a batter. So that's the reason why there's the fastball, the rising fastball, the 2-seam, the 4-seam, the cutter. Maybe the cutter might be gone. Maybe the slider might be gone because people are going to still focus on throwing their fastball because they know if they're accurate with it, they're going to hit the strike zone no matter what, if it's even a robo ump. And the more you do that, the harder the people are going to throw. Faster the mile per hour is going to go up. The more strikeouts we're going to see still continue to rise. And also, if people are throwing fastballs the entire time, what's the longevity that we're going to see on these pitchers? That's another factor. Like, are we going to see more arms being blown out? Are we going to see more people keep accumulated? Are we going to see the lifespan of a Major League Baseball pitcher go down? Like, these are all questions that we need to ask because they're going to also start that on low A and bring it up to low A, to high A, double A, to triple A, to the majors. Are we going to see by the time it hits the majors, we're going to see a depleted farm system by players being either hurt, or we're going to see a lot more fastballs, or we're going to see no more curveballs? This is look at Adam Wainwright. He's making his living off of a 12-6 curveball. That's still unhittable. Look at a guy like R.A. Dickey who rejuvenated his career by throwing a knuckleball. Like, we're going to see a lot less of junk being thrown by pitchers if we end up seeing a robo up. I want to be proven wrong on this. I do. I truly do. But I have to see it in order to be proven wrong. And at some point, we're going to see the robo umps come in. I'm clearly against it. But I do like the ask. Is it going to speed up the game? No. What's actually, I'll get into it a lot more at some other point, but what's actually kind of kept the game go longer is because analytics. Analytics have made games go extremely long. That's the thing. So yeah, robo umps coming at some point. I don't like it. Baseball is starting to. You're not going to do your chess match stuff anymore. But what am I going to say? I'm just a guy talking into a mic right now about baseball. Let me know what you think, though. I keep the conversation rolling here in the comment sections on YouTube, or you can try to hit me up on Twitter at Kramer Talks. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the podcast outlet that this gets put out on, because throwing shed is going to be over. I'm taxed. The arm's a little sore. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Like the video. Subscribe. And I'm going to try to do this weekly. But on YouTube, every single night, I'm going to at least post at least 1 or 2 baseball clips of what happened. And, yeah, we're going to go from there. So, everybody, have a good one.